Happy Sunday, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the card closet for another episode. So glad to have you here. Going to do something a little different. I'm going to have a hobby talk. Not very often that I do that. But there's something that happened that's really big in the hobby this past week, and nobody's talking about it. The channels that usually talk about current events have not mentioned it yet. So I'm going to throw something out there, and maybe it'll lead to conversation and other people getting this topic front and center in their mind, and other people talking about it too, because I'm curious what people's thoughts are. But what happened this past week is that Fanatics bought out PWCC. So I think most of you probably know, but Fanatics is the apparel and memorabilia company that bought the Topps licenses for baseball, and they bought basketball and football from those prospective companies as well, card companies. So in the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to see Fanatics producing all three of the big sports. And then PWCC is ostensibly a place where you can send your cards and they will sell them for you. So a consignment company. If you've got cards that you're thinking you could sell on your own, but you know PWCC has thousands and thousands of followers on their auctions. PWCC can get me better dollar under their name than I can get selling it myself, so I'll send it to them. They charge me a little fee, but I more than make up for the fee with the extra I make on the auction. That's the kind of thing that PWCC does. And a few years ago, PWCC was in the news in a negative way. They were accused of shill bidding on eBay. And that is when you've got cards for sale and you've got insiders of some kind. I'm not going to say employees necessarily, or family members of employees, I don't know, but bidding up the auctions. And PWCC did get top dollar for their auctions. I won a few over the years when they were on eBay. A lot of times it got out of my price range. So, they were another consignment seller on eBay, similar to Greg Morris or Probstein 123. But a couple years ago, they got in trouble for the shill bidding, and then they got in trouble for selling trimmed cards. And this was supposedly in cahoots with PSA grading, that cards that were known to be trimmed were not being graded as trimmed. At least that was the accusation. And then PWCC was selling them as not trimmed on their site. And there might have been other allegations as well. But anyway, eBay kicked PWCC off their platform a couple years ago. And you got to hand it to PWCC. They did not throw in the towel. They went and built their own platform, which is out there today, called PWCC Marketplace. And they've got thousands of items out there. People are still sending their cards to PWCC for consignment. I checked out the website earlier today, actually, just to see what it was all about, because honestly, I had never looked at it before. It's more than just a marketplace now. They will actually take your raw cards, and part of their service is to send them in for grading, and then after they're graded, put them out on their marketplace for sale. So it saves you a grading step if you want to get your cards graded before they're sold. And they will use any grading company that you choose, but PSA is not one of the options. But the other biggies, top 4 or 5, are all on there that are options for you to use. And I can see why they wouldn't have PSA as an option anymore. Well, I say anymore, they probably never did. But I can see why PSA is not an option, just given the scrutiny of that relationship between PSA and PWCC. So anyway, what they've got now is this marketplace platform for selling cards. And it appears, from the outside looking in, that it seems to be going very well. So now we've got Fanatics earlier this week buying up PWCC. So that kind of gets you wondering, why would they want to do that? And I'm wondering the same thing. I think we'll find out before too long. I think obviously Fanatics is looking to get more and more involved in the hobby and get involved in more and more of the facets of the hobby. And by getting PWCC, Fanatics has a marketplace. You can buy cards on Fanatics right now, but if you look at their site, it's not that great. It's not really what I'm guessing nobody listening to this video goes to Fanatics to buy their cards, fanatics.com. But this marketplace will now give them a platform to go out there and really push the sales of cards. And so does Fanatics want to be in the consignment business? That's a good question. They maybe do. Or did they just want the technology and the platform itself? So I've worked for a software company that was purchased by another software company, and I've worked for a software company that bought another software company. So I've been on both sides of that, and I can tell you what's going to happen is you've got your IT staff at Fanatics and your IT staff at PWCC, and there's going to be a meeting of the minds somewhere, and they're going to decide which of whose technologies they keep and whose they blend away or just kind of slowly make it go away over time. And so it appears that PWCC has a great marketplace technology going for them, and I'm sure Fanatics will jump on that right away. So probably going to be a lot of Fanatics employees kept on in that area, I would guess. When companies get bought out, a lot of the duplicate roles are eliminated, like, human resources, people and culture, sales staffs, things like that. There's some merging that happens. Not sure how this will all pan out. But anyway, trying to look ahead to what this could mean, and we're not giving a lot of information other than that announcement that was I saw it on ESPN.com earlier this week, that the purchase had happened. And I'm trying to imagine a world where Fanatics owns the licensing to the big three sports, and they now have a pretty awesome platform for selling. I'm kind of wondering if they're not going to use that platform for online breaks. That's my prediction. Haven't seen anything like that anywhere. But they are the producers of the card. They could easily start up a division or a little department or group that breaks their own product. And in fact, I could see it right now. They make a bunch of 2024 Fanatics tops, and there's a certain amount of the manufactured cards that are just shipped right to another department in Fanatics that does live breaks online. And then if you want the cards that are in those breaks, they'll be right there on that Fanatics marketplace. I doubt they'll still call it PWCC marketplace. And that'll be their way of generating interest. People will be on their site a lot, get a lot of advertising revenue by having increased volume for that. There's a lot of onesie twosie people out there doing breaks online, a lot of YouTube channels doing breaks. But I could see Fanatics taking over that space, online breaks, and dropping it into the marketplace, and people snatching them up that are watching live. And that's a prediction. I don't know that that'll happen, but I could see them getting into that space and taking it over, really. I mean, who's going to go watch a YouTube video with 600 subscribers doing their breaks when you can go to Fanatics and they're breaking their own product? So one thing that could lead to, which I hope doesn't happen, is another period of overproduction. I could see that they'd produce extra to put on their marketplace in addition to what they're doing now. So increasing production, that would be a bad thing. I could also see maybe potentially some impacts with local card shops, that if Fanatics has this beefed up marketplace now to sell their product, will it be tougher for the local card shops to get product from them? Because in a way they will be competitors with the company who's making the cards. So hopefully don't want to see that. I would think Fanatics is not that dumb that they would, you know, cut out the legs from under the hobby, the people that have been supporting them all these years. So we'll see. But anyway, I thought that was interesting news. I think it's going to be a good thing if you're a breaker, if you're a flipper, if you're any of those people that are in the hobby for those kind of reasons. If you're just a true collector like me who gets cards and keeps them, acquires them and keeps them for your collection because you enjoy them, enjoy having them, probably not going to help us out that much, to be honest. So anyway, let me know in the comments your thoughts. Has anybody else even heard the news? I mean, like I said, nobody's talking about this. And let me know if you'd heard the news and what your thoughts are. Any predictions on what might happen? Pros and cons to this deal. It is getting to be more and more of a monopoly for Fanatics. The one thing they're not in right now would be grading. I would really hope they don't buy out an SGC or a CSG or any of those, because that would almost be a conflict of interest if you're producing the cards and then grading them right away. At that point, what I've heard John Mangini say before, at that point, you're just printing the cards, and as part of your manufacturing process, they just go into a slab and they're put in packs as slab cards, all 10s. And I hope we don't get to that. So anyway, in the background, a couple cards I've picked up this week. Finally got the 1984 Fleer update of Roger Clemens. I've been trying to get that for 10, 15 years. I've been really stubborn on the price I was willing to pay. And I have had to mentally increase the amount I was willing to pay. And, for the last 4 or 5 years, I'll just say it, my price has been $100. If I could ever get one under $100. And it took all these years, and finally one slid below $100. And it happens to be a 6, but I tell you what, historically, this card in much lower conditions than a 6 has been going for over 100. Then in the middle, I've got a Topps Finest X-Fractor of Ben Roethlisberger. And then on the far left, I've got a Revolution of Anthony Davis, and that is the lava parallel with that lava lamp looking glow coming from the background there on that card. All right. Hope you guys all have a great Memorial Day tomorrow. Try to remember those in your life who meant a lot that are no longer with us. Maybe some special memories about cards and parents or grandparents that are no longer with us, but played a big part in getting you into card collecting when you were a kid. So enjoy your Memorial Day. Take care, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.